Red Black Garp. I never thought I'd see the day where this deck was winning any tournaments with real decks in it. The red black color combination literally has zero synergy. This might actually be the worst color combination I've ever seen in this game. And as a professional coper myself who's gotten cooked while playing Yamato, I've flown to Europe just to get Friedel on Rebecca and Perona. I know what it's like to cope and I know the pain that comes along with it, but this Japanese player managed to do it. This Japanese player is actually super cold for what he did because a few hours before the tournament, note the timestamp 7:23, he's like, I'm participating in the competition. And then he has like his Garp deck kind of laid out like this. And then boom, 4 hours later, no, 11:47, this is 7:23, 11:47, he actually managed to win the whole thing. Like, this is crazy. I don't know what type of tournament this was. It says deck used in the first American tournament, so I don't know what that means. I actually have to check on that. But wait, America? Oh, what? Wait, where in America is this? Hold up. Let me verify this. Nah, I'm actually so dumb. So it was in LA. So this Japanese player, he pulled up to Los Angeles and he cooked them with Garp. That is fire. And if we look at his matchups, he beat Purple Luffy, beat Red Shanks, beat Black Yellow Luffy, beat another Purple Luffy, and also beat a Blue Doflamingo. That is actually insane. Yo, I didn't even realize that American LA. I thought it was like some Japanese letters that I was messing up. Okay. That's actually insane. So yeah. People may not understand this deck list or any of the incentives behind using the Garp leader in the first place. So today we're going to be going over the Garp leader, why you may want to use it, and we're also going to be going over the deck list. First things first, let's take a look at the Garp leader. This card reads, when you attach it onto your leader or character, reduce -1 to one of your opponent's cost 7 or less characters. So this would make this leader arguably the best black leader at abusing Jack. And you may also think, oh, but it only works on 7 costs or less. But you can actually lower a card that's bigger than 7 costs with like a Hina or a Suru, the list goes on. Then you can just start attaching a bunch of down to your leader, and then bam, you can clear literally anything with Jack. And aside from this, just like I mentioned in the Smoker video, Sengoku is an extremely powerful card. A blank draw 3 really is something that will make this black deck more consistent than other black decks without it. So even if we don't have as high of a ceiling as Lucci, at least we can expect to see Moria and other cards more on average. Garp also gets to run this 2-Dawn Garp that is extremely powerful in the early game. You can literally just attach however much Dawn you want to this Garp and you can clear pretty much any unit in the early game. It's very great. Let's go ahead and take a look at the actual list. So this is the Garp list here. As I mentioned, we have this leader ability, which is going to be insane with cards like Jack. So I think the main cards to really take note of in this list is this Garp. This Garp's just going to be insane in the early game. You can attach however many down you want and you can clear anything. The same actually goes for 3-cost Brook as well. This card becomes an absolute powerhouse because you can attach however many down and you can clear anything with no worries. And then on top of that, we actually have, aside from the Jack, which I already mentioned is like the main card in this deck, we have Nightmare Luffy as well. He was able to be a Black Yellow Luffy, so I would assume this is part of the reason why. Being able to just like, let's say you need to trash like a Sabo or even like a Sabo or Luffy while going for game, just being able to attach 3 Dawn to this Luffy and then being able to clear that unit for 3 will be very, very strong. Aside from that, the rest of the list is like fairly standard, right? Like we have the Suru. As I mentioned, Suru is still going to be important because this leader ability only works on 7 costs or less. So being able to use a Suru to make a 9 cost to 7 cost and then being able to attach a bunch of Dawn to reduce that 9 cost to whatever we want is going to be very relevant. Rebecca's just always the like queen in black decks, being able to combo with cards like Brook, Kobe, Hina. It's just such a nice card, right? Sengoku, this is an absolutely godsend for Navy leaders right now. As I mentioned, the blank draw 3 is insane. Like I think I had to re-mention this in the comments of my last video of the Smoker video, but you guys can't underestimate how good like a blank draw 3 is. Now, I'm not trying to say any of these Navy leaders necessarily become better than Lucci because they have this card, but that extra consistency is something that really is crazy. Like it's something that I definitely would not take for granted. Like if Lucci gets something like this, oh my god, that would just be nuts. Garp, I already mentioned Garp not too long ago. So as this card is insane in the early game, similar to Brook, like just being able to attach however many down we want to clear anything is very nice. Like if you just slam this on 2 Dawn or your 3 Dawn turn, we just have a card sitting around just waiting to mess things up. So it's very nice. We have Brook. So this card's actually a bit weird. This is actually the only red card in the deck, which is to note as well. So you get to attach 2 down when you play it, so we get to activate the leader ability. But one thing to note is that off of Moria, if you do a play that's like Rebecca, let's say Rebecca and we play Brooke, right? Oh wait, that does work. Okay, so here was my confusion, right? So the way it works is when you play cards off of Moria, you have to like resolve your effects before you can like resolve leader or whatever. So like I was getting confused for a second because you attach 2 down for Brooke, then you resolve Rebecca, but I think you can resolve the Brooke attached to, like, I think you can resolve the leader ability to do -2 before you resolve whatever you call for Rebecca. I'm not entirely sure. Can somebody in the comments, if you know the ruling on this, could you please let me know? I think that's how it works. I know, like, if you play Brooke and Brooke, for example, without the Rebecca, I know 100% this Brooke is gonna resolve before this card's like before Garp's ability, right? Because let's say you play both of these. Let's say this card attaches to the leader, then you have Brooke ability. This Brooke is gonna resolve before leader resolves. But if you play Rebecca, it might be different. If you play Rebecca, then you use Brooke to attach leader, you resolve Rebecca. Maybe you're able to resolve leader. I don't know. Someone in the comments, please let me know, because I'm actually unsure on that. But anyways, continuing on, Brooke. This card's also gonna be insane. It just works very well with Garp's leader skill, of course. Kobe. I think this is a card that's just always good in Navy leaders. We get to increase our Navy account. We get to discard 2, draw 3. And I think being able to pop 3 costs or less is just an insane threshold, right? Like if we do like a Ice Age, Suru, Kobe, bam, we're just hitting 10 costs just like that. So I think it's a nice card to just have around to be able to hit those higher units. Next up, we have Hina. Hina's going to be insane in this deck. As I said, Garp is going to be the black leader that arguably abuses Jack the best. So just being able to use Hina to get a body out while reducing any card that's above 7 costs to below 7 costs, and then attaching the remaining down to leader and popping a card with Jack is going to be very, very strong. Kuzan, as I kind of mentioned in my smoker video, and if you're on my Patreon, as I mentioned it, I am typically a Kuzan hater, but I guess it just synergizes well in the Garp deck. Like at the very worst, it's just a target to discard this draw, to discard to draw 3, or you can play it on your turn 2. I think my issue is still against like Pluffy and stuff like that. Like against Pluffy and Dofi, it's a rather weak card, but I guess anywhere else across the board, it is a pretty strong card to play on 4 Dawn. Or if you play this card on your 5 Dawn turn, and then your Jack will be able to pop 7 costs on your 7 Dawn turn. So that's also something to know. That is also another huge incentive to play Kuzan in a leader like Garp or Smoker that I did not mention in my previous Smoker video. So do keep that in mind. Just being able to Kuzan and then Jack the following turn is pretty good. And then Borsalino, this card's going to be very, very strong in Black Mirrors, and it's going to be very, very strong against Black Yellow Luffy as well, just to be able to conserve a lot of life in the early game. Or if we suspect they're going for lethal, we can just call the Borsalino out so it can can't get pots by like what is it called, by a Rocket Luffy or anything like that. Next up, T-Bone. This is like T-Bone's basically just a Navy 2K to have. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but at least in the Garp leader, you can attach a bunch of Dawn and play it. So I actually think T-Bone is a lot better in this deck than Smoker. Like in Smoker, if you need another 2K, you're probably gonna end up playing T-Bone anyways. But I think this leader will actually end up playing T-Bone, whereas in Smoker, I don't think you'll end up playing T-Bone at all, to be honest. Next up, Sabo. So 3 Sabos is a lot. I guess that they really, really wanted to see this card. As I mentioned, Japanese players typically don't even play any Sabos in their Smoker list, so I am a bit surprised to see a lot of Sabo in this Garp list, but I'm definitely here for it. I'm a huge fan of it. Rebecca Sabo is just a line that's going to be strong against literally every deck in the game, and it's a very strong line against Black Yellow Luffy as well, which is one of the matchups that this Garp player did beat. Next up, Nightmare Luffy. Nightmare Luffy is kind of like a mini Jack. I think Nightmare Luffy is a bit broken in this deck, thanks to Garp's leader ability just being able to reduce stuff for essentially for free. Obviously, we can recur off of Rebecca and stuff like that, and it's just going to be very strong into the Black Yellow Luffy matchup. If it can stick against Blackbeard, it'll be very strong, but like, what are the odds of this sticking against Blackbeard? You know, it's, you feel me? Next up, we have Jack. As I mentioned, Jack is going to be one of the biggest reasons to even try this Garp lead in the first place. I think this deck is genuinely the best deck at abusing Jack. Most decks in the game at the moment can't really clear Jack when it comes onto the board. So you just get like a permanent removal, basically, right? Like you get this permanent removal that is always able to remove anything, anytime, thanks to Garp's leader build. As long as we see literally like any cost minus, like we're just reducing it with Garp and bam, we're popping it with Jack. Moria, this card is just king in all black decks. We always need this. Since Moria is also going to combo well with the Jack, right? Because we can go like Moria. This is also where Brook is going to be really good, by the way. Like even if I was wrong about the ruling from earlier, and like the fact that you're doing Rebecca Brook doesn't allow you to resolve this before Kobe or whatever, the Brook will still be relevant for Jack plays because we can do like Rebecca Brook. We can have Brook attached to Don, then we can play a Heen out. Garp resolves -2, so we're doing a total of -6, and then we can pop like a 9-cost with Jack or whatever. And then last we have Ice Sage, 3 Ice Sage. I generally always like to include 4 Ice Sage in my black decks, but in this deck, we don't really have any mills, so it's not like any of them are really going to the trash. And then of course our Sengoku are helping us draw 3. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on Red Black Garp. I'll probably even make a video even just trying some games with this deck. I think it's very interesting to see this deck win. Like even like I get it was probably just like a locals in LA, but even just winning a locals with real decks in the meta, right? Like he played against Black Yellow Luffy, Purple Luffy, Blue Doflamingo. It is really insane to see a Red Black Garp deck win like that. So let me know what you guys think about it. I think even if it does actually beat those decks on a consistent basis, it probably would still lose to Lucci, but I do think it's very fun to see a leader like this actually win a tournament. But with that being said, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.